Hello, and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, then here are some that I've read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa for today is Wicked No More, a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 88 on. Its main character is Anrish, a character from a novel that is the mother of the male lead and supposed villainess to her daughter-in-law. Of course, the version of Anrish that we get to know is knowledgeable of the original novel and her destined role. She of course wants none of it and instead wants to shower both her only son and daughter-in-law with so much love. Clearly, to get there though, Anrish's husband, the Balua household head, will need to be persuaded as well. Similar to some of the other mother-focused manhwas, if there are even more of them in the future, I may need to add it as a tag. Once things settle down in the family, barriers and hurdles will come to face them, as is routine. The story is 9 out of 10. An overall solid package for romance and family genre enjoyers. You'll see all of the necessary steps or events that come with this type of story. I've personally read a bunch of them during my time and have particularly enjoyed this one as well. The characters are 8 out of 10. From cute children to adorable relationships with all of those within the family unit, and an initial arc that tries to get you to be closer to all of the people within that unit, there's a lot of events to enjoy in this once you start reading it. The art is also 8 out of 10. With these family manhwas, specifically mother-focused ones, you will see a lighter and flowery art style that emphasizes the family unit. As things get more serious though with later events, it showcases the potential for very much other emotional scenes. So if you're a fan of family manhwas, especially those with a mother being the main focus, similar to I became the mother of the evil male lead from my previous videos, then Wicked No More would be another surefire manhwa to read. This next manhwa to take a look at is Not Interested in Dating, a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 44 on. The protagonist of this story is Mang Do-hui, a single female living in modern-day Korea that doesn't have the most positive outlook when it comes to romantic relationships. What you would more consider an introvert, she herself works as a part of a marketing or social media team for a company. You will get to see an almost day in the life of a corporate marketing team mixed with a romance and slice-of-life spin of things. Do-hui will have her hands full as the co-worker relationships may just get a little bit more complicated over time. The story is 6 out of 10. From its impressions and the chapters I've read so far, there isn't any truly grand stakes involved. The slice of life and romance portions of the manhwa are the primary focus. The relationships are very much the driver of any given plot, for both Do-hui and those around her. The characters are 8 out of 10. Rom-com characters with a social media job is the basis of this manhwa. It actually ends up being a really core set of 4 characters. We get to see them in various situations that are just straight up amusing. If anything, it does remind me of a slice of life office work K-drama. The art is 7 out of 10. Fluttery slice of life K-drama vibes are the center of this manhwa, like I said. From Do-hui's outlook on relationships, co-worker romances, and frustrations, to the eventual romantic feelings that will come her way, it's an enjoyable one for those that are looking for a more laid-back manhwa. So if you're a fan of modern romantic comedy stories and enjoyed We're Not Dating from my previous videos, then Not Interested in Dating might just interest you. For this week, we have 2 shorter manhwas to take a look at. The first one is Must the Reincarnated Mother Always Die? A reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 31 on. Liliana is the name of its main character. Of course, as the title suggests, she reincarnated into a world that she knew of from her previous life. The problematic part though is that she's the mother of the heroine that passed away at childbirth to set up the childcare novel situation. Of course, she doesn't want to be put in that situation, so she looks to do what she can do to try and prevent it from happening. As seems to be the manner of course though, political battles, romantic relationships, and conflicts will await Liliana's life. The potential is 8 out of 10. To be quite honest, the concept of reincarnating into the mother of the main character of the novel is not unique, but this particular take is interesting. Trying to prevent the original setting from happening is of course normal given Liliana's predicament, but trying to almost either have the child or not have the child, that's still to be determined. The art is 7 out of 10. From its limited set of chapters, it hasn't yet made a particular impression for me. It showcases the emotions that one would feel in Liliana's place, and I'm waiting to see if there's anything else it can do to truly distinguish itself from all the rest. So if you're a fan of romance manhwas, like following newer stories, and are curious what a manhwa can do with a little twisting of a common assumption, then Must the Reincarnated Mother Always Die could be a good fit. Then our second shorter manhwa for this week is The Immoral Ducal Family Needs to Learn Family Values, a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 28 on. The focus of this story is on Estella Margaret Montiel, a reincarnated person who found herself in a novel from her previous world. This is getting to be quite the trope these days. Estella ends up in the role of the governess, the person who is in charge of the education of young noble children, specifically that of the Bertha ducal family. Of course, her past life had the background of working with children a lot, so this type of task suits her. As she gets embroiled with the politics of the household, specifically of the succession of the Bertha family head, Estella will have to navigate it effectively to survive. The potential is 7 out of 10. At least for its initial impression, the main focus has been the actual education of Estella's students. This, plus her survival, have been at the forefront of the chapters I've read so far. And at least for that note, it's a good slice of life spin with some drama on the side to help sell the situation at hand. But I can see it moving more to the romance side in the future. The art is also 7 out of 10. It's very much in the same spot where I view it as a solid rendition of a typical fantasy manhwa. The question becomes whether or not it transitions to a more romance type or merely keeps the genre at bay, so to speak. So if you're a fan of fantasy manhwas focused on the education of children, similar to I'm the Tutor of the Twin Highnesses, which I titled as Tutor of the Royal Twins from my previous videos, but with a slight chance of romance not being in the picture, then The Immoral Ducal Family Needs to Learn Family Values might suit that particular one. Another week, another highlight. For those unaware, this is the section of the video I update impressions for manhwa that I previously covered. Today's highlight is Blink Master of the Magic Academy, which I titled Quick Teleporting Genius from Magic School from my previous videos. I've now read up to chapter 54 on it though. Info card in the description will have links to my original opinion. Baek Sol, our resident reincarnated one, who found himself in the body of the hard version of the original game or romance novel, has been living quite well during his time at Stella Academy. From living the normal life of a student to becoming quite the attention grabber in multiple school events, and ending up influencing the direction of the world in a more advantageous position for himself, Yusol has been quite the busy bee. Barring the initial set of chapters that set the foundation for the story to be told, in my opinion, it's already successfully somewhat distanced itself from the original work it put itself in and begun its own path, while also still having the necessary background for him to make use of. My previous scores for this manhwa were 9 out of 10 for potential and 8 out of 10 for art. The potential translates to a 7 out of 10 for story, now as after setting its initial plot, the pace has plateaued, and we are being told the plot one arc at a time. If you're wanting to keep up with the manhwa, then it's a great one to do that with instead of binging. The characters gets translated to an 8 out of 10 as there are multiple characters to get invested in, whether or not they're beneficial to Yusol's situation. We also get his background of whether or not they will have impact on the future is dependent on him. The original main character, Flame, has her own motivations and suspicions as well. The art moves up 1 point from 8 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 as the great character portraits melded with the renditions of a magical school society, college/university style in some ways, are great, especially with this latest round of academic presentations. Blink Master of the Magic Academy has been a continued treat to follow. So if you're a fan of school life fantasy manhwas and want a main character who has to live this reincarnated life on quote-unquote hard mode, then it would at least be a decent one to give a read. Would you agree or would you not? Comment down below your thoughts on Blink Master of the Magic Academy. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Write in the comment section down below what manhwa you've been reading and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.